And now for tonight's main event, a tale of death, an escaped con, and a family's misfortune. In Flannery O'Connor's A Good Man is Hard to Find.
The grandmother didn't want to go to Florida. She wanted to visit some of her connections in East Tennessee, and she was seizing at every chance to change Billy's mind. Billy was the son she lived with, her only boy. He was sitting on the edge of his chair at the table, bent over the orange sports section of the journal.
Now look here, Bailey. See here, read this. Here, look at this picture. That fellow that calls himself the Misfit is loose from the federal pen and headed toward Florida, and you read here what it says he did to these people. Just you read it. I wouldn't take my children in any direction with a criminal like that loose in it. I couldn't answer to my conscience if I did.
Bailey didn't look up from his reading, so she wheeled around then and faced the children's mother, a young woman in slacks whose face was as broad and innocent as a cabbage, and was tied around with a green handkerchief that had 2 points on the top, like rabbit's ears. She was sitting on the couch, feeding the baby his apricots out of a jar.
The children have been to East Florida before. All you ought to take them somewhere else for a change so they would see different parts of the world and be broad. They never have been to East Tennessee.
The children's mother didn't seem to hear her, but the 8-year-old boy, John Wesley, a stocky kid with glasses, did.
If you don't want to go to Florida, why don't you stay at home?
He and the little girl, June Starr, were reading the funny papers on the floor.
She wouldn't stay at home to be queen for a day.
Yes, and what would you do if this fellow, the Misfit, caught you?
I'd smack his face. She wouldn't stay at home for $1,000,000. Afraid she'd miss something. She has to go everywhere we go.
All right, miss. Just remember that the next time you want me to curl your hair.
The next morning, the grandmother was the first one in the car, ready to go. She had her big black valise that looked like the head of a hippopotamus in one corner, and underneath it she was carrying a basket with Pitty Sing, the cat, in it. She didn't intend for the cat to be left alone in the house for 3 days, because he would miss her too much, and she was afraid he might brush against one of the gas burners and accidentally asphyxiate himself.
The weather sure is nice today, not too hot or cold. Mind you, Billy, don't drive too fast. The speed limit is 55 miles an hour, and the patrolmen hide behind the billboards. They will get you before you can slow down.
Let's go through Georgia fast so we don't have to look at it much.
If I were a little boy, I wouldn't talk about my native state that way. Tennessee has the mountains, Georgia has the hills.
Tennessee is just a hillbilly dumping ground, and Georgia's a lousy state too. You said it.
In my time, children were more respectful of their native states and their parents and everything else. People did right then. Oh, look at that cute little pickaninny.
She pointed to a Negro child standing in the door of a shack.
Wouldn't that make a picture now?
They all turned and looked at the little Negro out the back window. He waved.
He didn't have any breeches on.
He probably didn't even have any. Little niggers in the country don't have things like we do. If I could paint, I'd paint that picture.
They passed a large cornfield with 5 or 6 graves fenced in the middle of it, like a small lot.
Look at that graveyard. That was the old family burying ground. That belonged to the plantation.
Where's the plantation?
Gone with the wind.
Thanks for tuning in to part 1 of A Good Man is Hard to Find. Your program will be back in a moment after this short break.
Are you hungry for some good old-fashioned food? Then come try Red Sammy's famous barbecue, known like famous Red Sammy. Red Sammy, fast boy with a happy laugh. A veteran, Red Sammy's your man. Want some grub for the road? Red Sammy's got your back, so come on down to the tower. We'll be waiting.
Thank you for staying with us, and now we return to the main program.
They stopped at the tower for barbecue sandwiches. The tower was a wood filling station and dance hall set in a clearing outside of Timothy. A fat man named Red Sammy Butts ran it. Red Sammy was lying on the bare ground outside the tower with his head under a truck. The family saw this, kept walking into the tower, and sat down. The children's mother put a dime in the jukebox, and the grandma asked Bailey if he would like to dance, but he only glared at her. He didn't have a naturally sunny disposition like she did, and trips made him nervous.
Play something fast that I can tap to.
Aw, ain't she cute? You like to become my little girl?
No, I certainly wouldn't. I wouldn't live in a broken down place like this for $1,000,000.
Ain't she cute?
Bailey, aren't you ashamed?
Red Sam came in and told his wife to quit lounging on the counter and hurry up with these people's order. He came over and sat down at a table nearby and laid out a combination sigh and yodel.
You can't win. You can't win. These days you don't know who to trust.
Ain't that the truth? People are certainly not nice like they used to be.
2 fellas come in last week driving a Chrysler. It was an old beat-up car, but it was a good one. These boys looked alright to me. Said they worked at the mill, and I let them fellas charge the gas they bought. Now, why did I do that?
Because you're a good man.
Yes, I suppose so.
His wife brought the orders, carrying the 5 plates all at once without a tray, 2 in each hand and 1 balanced on her arm.
It isn't so in this green world of God that you can trust, and I don't count nobody out of that. Not nobody.
Did you read about that criminal, the misfit that escaped?
I would be a bit surprised if he didn't attack the place right here. If he hears about it being here, I wouldn't be none surprised to see him. If it hears it's 2 cents in the cash register, I would be tall surprised if he...
I'll do. Go bring these people their cocoa. A good man is hard to find. Everything is getting terrible. I remember the day you could go off and leave your screen door unlatched. Not no more.
See, it's all the trouble now in Europe. If they would just leave us alone, then we would just be better off without them.
I hear you, and we can't do a thing about it.
The children ran outside to play with the monkey, and the rest followed. Before long, they headed out once again into the hot afternoon.
Oh, I remember an old plantation that I visited around here years ago when I was a young lady. I really should like to see that beautiful house again, just to see if those twin arbors are still standing, and I just know the way to go. There was a secret panel in the house, and the story went that all the family silver was hidden in it when Sherman came through, but it was never found.
Hey, let's go see it. We'll find it. We'll poke all the woodwork and find it. Who lives there? Where do you turn off at? Hey, Pop, can't we turn off there?
We never have seen a house with a secret panel. Let's go to the house with the secret panel. Hey, Pop, can we go see the house with the secret panel?
It's not far from here, I know. It would have taken over 20 minutes.
No.
But I want to go see the house. Please, Dad, please, please,
Come
please.
on, Dad. We never have it. Come on, Dad. Come on, Dad.
Dad,
please.
how come we can't do what we
But I
want
wanna
on
go
vacation?
see
The house. Please,
Come on,
Dad,
Dad.
please,
We
please,
never have
please.
it. Fun.
Alright, will you all shut up? Will you all just shut up for 1 second? If you don't shut up, we won't go anywhere.
It would be very educational for them.
Alright, but get this. This is the only time we're going to stop for anything like this. This is the one and only time.
The dirt road you have to turn down is about a mile back. I've marked it when we were past.
The dirt road. Great.
The secret panel is probably in the fireplace.
You can't go in the house. You don't know who lives there.
While you talk to the people in front, I'll run around behind and get in the window.
The road looked as if no one had traveled on it in months. The dirt road was hilly, and there were sudden washes in it and sharp curves on dangerous embankments. All at once they would be on a hill, looking down over the blue tops of trees for miles around. Then the next minute, they would be in a red depression with dust-coated trees and looking down on them. This place had better turn up in a minute or I'm going to turn around.
It's not much farther.
Just as she said it, a horrible thought came to her. The thought was so embarrassing that she turned red in the face, and her feet jumped up, upsetting the cat, which sprang onto Bailey's shoulder. Grandmother was curled up under the dashboard, hoping she was injured so that Bailey's wrath would not come down on her all at once. The horrible thought she had had before the accident was that the house she had remembered so vividly was not in Georgia, but in Tennessee.
We've had an accident!
Honey, where are you? Are you okay?
I'm alright. My shoulder's hurt pretty bad, but the baby is fine. We've had an accident! But nobody's killed.
I believe I have injured an organ.
Look, there's a car.
Quick, get its attention. Wave your arms around. I think I know that face.
Good afternoon. I see y'all had you a little spill.
We turned over twice.
Once we seen it happen. Try their car and see will it run, Hiram.
What you got that gun for? What you gonna do with that gun?
Lady, would you mind calling them children to sit down by you? Children make me nervous. I want all you to sit down right together, there where you're at.
What are you telling us what to do for? Come here.
Look here now, we're in a predicament. We're in...
Ah! You're the misfit. I recognize you at once.
Yes'm. But it would have been better for all of you, lady, if you hadn't recognized me.
You wouldn't shoot a lady, would you?
I would hate to have to.
Listen, I know you're a good man. You don't look a bit like you have a common blood. I know you must come from nice people.
Yes, ma'am. Finest people in the world. God never made a finer woman than my mother, and my daddy's heart was pure gold. Watch them children, Bobby. You know they make me nervous. Ain't a cloud in the sky. Don't see no sun, but you don't see no clouds neither.
Yes, it's a beautiful day. Listen, you shouldn't call yourself the misfit because I know you're a good man at heart. I can just look at you and tell.
Hush, everybody just shut up and let me handle this.
I appreciate that, lady.
It'll take a half hour to fix this here car.
Well, first you and Bobby Lee get him and that little boy to step over yonder with you. The boys want to ask you something. Would you mind stepping back in them woods with them there?
Listen, we're in a terrible predicament. Nobody would realize that's what this is.
Y'all come with me and Bobby now.
I'll be back in a minute, Mama. Wait on me.
Come back this instant, baby boy. Oh, Mr. Misfit, I just know you're a good man. You're not a bit common.
No. I ain't a good man. But I ain't the worst in the world neither. My daddy said I was a different breed of dog from my brothers and sisters. You know? Daddy said it's some that can live their whole life without asking about it, and the others that has to know why it is. And this boy is one of the latters. He's gonna be into everything. I'm sorry I don't have a shirt on before you ladies. We buried our clothes that we had when we escaped, and we're just making do until we can get better. We borrowed these from some folks we met.
Where are they taking him?
Daddy was a card himself. You couldn't put anything over on him. He never got in trouble with the authorities, though. Just had the knack of handling them.
You could be honest, too, if you only try. Think how wonderful it would be to settle down and live a comfortable life and not have to think about somebody chasing you all the time.
Yes'm. Somebody's always after you.
Do you ever pray?
No.
Bailey, boy!
I was a gospel singer for a while. I've been most everything. Been in the armed service, both land and sea. At home and abroad. Been twict married. Been an undertaker. Been with the railroads. Plowed Mother Earth. Been in a tornado. Seen a man burn alive once. I even seen a woman flogged.
Pray.
I never was a bad boy that I remember of. But somewheres along the line, I done something wrong and got sent to the penitentiary. I was buried alive.
That's when you should have started to pray. What did you do to get sent back to the penitentiary that first time?
Turn to the right, it was a wall. Turn to the left, it was a wall. Look up, it was a ceiling. Look down, it was a floor. I forget what I done, lady. I sit there, trying to remember what it was I'd done. And I ain't recalled it to this day. Once in a while, I would think it was coming to me, but it never come.
Maybe they put you in by mistake.
No, it wasn't no mistake. They had papers on me.
You must have stolen something.
Nobody had nothing I wanted. who was a head doctor at the penitentiary, said what I had done was kill my daddy. But I known that for a lie. My daddy died in 1819 of the epidemic flu, and I never had a thing to do with it. He was buried in the Mount Hopewell Baptist churchyard, and you can go there and see for yourself.
If you would pray, Jesus would help you.
That's right.
Well then, why don't you pray?
I don't want no help. I'm doing alright by myself. Throw me that shirt, Bobby Lee.
That's a nice shirt.
No, lady. I found out that crime don't matter. You can do one thing, or you can do another. Kill a man, or take a tire off his car. But sooner or later, you're gonna forget what it was you done, and just be punished for it. Lady, would you and that little girl like to step off yonder, Bobby Lee and Hiram, and join your husband?
Yes, thank you.
Lift that lady up, Hiram. And Bobby Lee, you hold on to that little girl's hand.
Jesus, you wouldn't shoot a lady, would you?
Jesus shown everything off balance. It was the same case with him as with me, except he hadn't committed any crime. And they could prove I had committed one because they have the papers on me. Of course, they never shown me my papers. That's why I signed myself now. I said long ago, you get you a signature, and you sign everything you do, keep a copy of it. And you'll know what you done. And you can hold up the crime to the punishment, and see do they match. And in the end, you'll have something to prove you ain't been treated right. I call myself the misfit, 'cause I can't make what I done fit what I gone through in punishment. Does it seem right to you, lady? That one is punished a heap, and another ain't punished at all?
Jesus, you got good blood. I know you wouldn't shoot a lady. I know you come from nice people. Pray. Jesus, you ought not to shoot a lady. I'll give you all the money I've got.
Lady, there never was a body give the undertaker a tip.
Bailey boy!
Jesus was the only one that ever raised the dead, and he shouldn't have done it. He's shown everything off balance. If he did what he said, then it's nothing for you to do, but throw away everything and follow him. And if he didn't, then it's nothing for you to do, but enjoy the few minutes you got left the best way you can, by killing somebody, burning down his house, or doing some other meanness to him. No pleasure but meanness.
Maybe he didn't raise the dead.
I wasn't there, so I can't say he didn't. I wished I'd have been there. It ain't right. I wasn't there, because if I'd have been there, I would have known. Listen, lady, if I had been there, I would have known, and I wouldn't be like I am now.
Why, you're one of my babies. You're one of my own children. Come here now.
Hiram and Bobby Lee returned from the woods and stood over the ditch, looking down at the grandmother who half sat and half lay in a puddle of blood with her legs crossed under her like a child's, and her face smiling up at the cloudless sky.
Take her off and throw her where you thrown the others.
She was the talker, wasn't she?
She would have been a nice woman, if it had been somebody there to shoot her every minute of her life.
Some fun.
Shut up, Bobby Lee. It's no real pleasure in life. Thanks for tuning in to today's broadcast of A Good Man is Hard to Find. Join us next week as we play AP English Part 2 by Mr. Wright.